everybody. How you doing? Debbie, also known as Miss Ladybug. Feeling very grateful to say that for 5 years, benzodiazepines have not resided in my medicine cabinet on a regular basis at all. I had one prescription when I ended up in the emergency room 2 days in a row in 2017. I think they gave me four to send me home with, and I think I threw two away because I realized it was going to make things worse probably. Um, and I had Versed when I had a angiogram, and I think that was the only time I had Versed and it didn't work. I was wide awake during my angiogram. So, but otherwise, yeah, I have been benzodiazepine free since October 10th. For those that have watched my channel for a while, I originally had jumped off 1 milligram in July 12th, the first Benzodiazepine Awareness Day, 2017. Or 2016, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm literally going off my memory, which is a good thing that I still can use my memory. Now, I can't tell you what I ate yesterday, but this stuff I can remember. Anyway, yeah, I had jumped off. I'd been tapering off a 3 to 6 milligram per day prescription for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and I got down to 1 milligram and sometimes just a half a milligram, and I ran out. It was 2 months after coming off opiates, years and years and years of opiates, so I wasn't thinking very clearly, and I just abruptly stopped and put myself into hell for quite a number of years. But here I am today, and I've been off opiates and benzodiazepines. I got tossed in the psychiatric unit twice in 2016 at this time of the year, actually in September, for all the symptoms associated with coming off meds, and all they did is put me on more meds. And so it took me a while to taper back off of those, with a whole new host of symptoms. So I've been completely pharmacology free since January 1st, 2018, except for a very low dose, low period of time. I took a corticosteroid when I was very, very ill with COVID last winter. So yeah, I'm not 100% anti-medications. However, I know for chronic long-term health conditions, mental or physical, it does not matter. There's very few disease and illness processes that will have any curative effect, and all those medications that are treating your chronic health conditions have 2 or more side effects, and no one knows all the combination of side effects from combining medicine that happens often in polypharmacology, which happened to me. I was on 18 different prescription medications for chronic health conditions for long-term use with no discussion of ending them between 2010 and 2017. I never had a doctor. In fact, when I had abruptly come off the benzodiazepines in 2016, and I was still on a very low dose of a Effexor extended release, I think I had tapered back down to either 75 or 37.5 milligrams. And then they jacked me back up to 225 milligrams. But when I had got down to that 75 or 37.5, I still was of the mindset and the understanding and the belief system that I was going to need an antidepressant the rest of my life because it was a chemical imbalance. Well, I haven't been on any antidepressants now almost 3 years. Yes, I have periods of depression. Yes, I have hard times at times. Those who follow me on social media, such as Instagram and Facebook, you've seen me crash. But do I live there? No. I am not chronically depressed anymore. Um, excuse me. I still have some underlying anxiety, but unlike what I experienced coming off medications of that sheer terror, that chronic sheer terror, that horrible inner akathisia that keeps you just so wound up, I don't have that anymore. Yeah, I have underlying anxiety because I have a long history of trauma and I have PTSD, and that's part of PTSD. I have a horrible startle reflex. Um, you know, Still things about making decisions sometimes can make me anxious. I'm getting ready to take a big trip and I've been anxious this week and it's affected my sleeping a little bit, affected my relations a little bit. But compared to how it was, these are little blips. And you rarely hear me talk on social media anymore about how bad I feel or all the things that are going on. Once in a while, I'll revert to that. Once in a while, I'll want some empathy or I like to hear what someone else has to say if they're struggling with that. But mostly I talk about what I do to feel better. And that I think has been the crux of my success because I'm feeling pretty successful after coming off all the medications that I've come off of and going through all the things I went through during that, being homeless, being estranged from all my family, losing friendships, being taken advantage of by people. I think I'm a success. I'm doing pretty well. I have a home. I have a place to live. I'm able to do just a little bit of work. I was pushing too much recently, and boy, it bit me in the butt. I still can't. There's no way that I could be self-sustaining. I couldn't work enough to be self-sustaining yet. But I'm out of bed every day. I'm socializing more. Now I have found if I'm with more than about 3 people trying to converse, I get a little depersonalization and derealization. It becomes too much. I can't keep up. I feel overwhelmed. I can't track. I can't like the conversation. It's like information's flying at me and I don't know where to put it. I still sometimes struggle with driving just because it is this visual information coming in, and I can still feel like I'm getting too much. It's just too much information and I can't process it. So I sleep pretty good. I've had a really rough week this week. Usually I'll have maybe one day every 10 days that, I might only get 2 or 3 hours. Most of the time I'm averaging about 6, still with a lot of interruptions, but comparatively, I'm so grateful because I wasn't getting hardly any sleep for years before coming off meds, like for 10 years. So, I look at the positives. I use a lot of skills and a lot of tools I've learned over the years. Acceptance and commitment. I don't feel great. I hurt. I'm going to probably hurt. Maybe forever. I don't know. I've got, degenerative things going on, but most of the time my pain doesn't get much worse just living my life. So I'm going to live my life instead of staying in bed and protecting myself against everything. I use cannabis. Cannabis has helped. It's the only thing that I've really used regularly other than some vitamins and supplements. Plants, different plants that, I add into my diet, garlic, those kind of things. I really strive to have a low inflammatory impact on my body system based on the foods that I eat. I try to get out and get fresh air, even when I had that horrible fear that I had agoraphobia. I didn't want to go outside. I was afraid of being around people. I was afraid of myself. I was afraid of everything. And I would force myself to go sit on the stoop and let the sun hit me, or even feel the rain, because that I knew was being in the moment. And all that fear is about the past and the future. Yes, you're feeling bad, and I'm not discounting that at all, because I've been there and I know how bad it feels. But there's a lot of things that we can do. Our brains are very, very wonderful organs that create all kinds of new pathways when you do new things. When you challenge the old things that aren't working for you and you start doing new things. I also have adopted the ideology that our words are extraordinarily powerful, and they send a vibration out, and our thoughts do too. So if all I'm thinking is how bad I feel, that I'll never heal, that this is the worst thing, that no one understands, that I'm all alone, oh my God, and if I keep that vibration going, I won't ever get well. That's how I think. If I think I won't get well and I put out in the universe with all my words that I'm not going to get well, I'm not going to get well. I've had too many experiences where I've spoken words and had it come back and smack me right up against the head. Physical changes. So I try to be very careful with my word. Am I perfect at it? Oh, of course not. I'll say, oh, my brain doesn't work. Well, my brain does work. It's just my brain still struggles finding information, and it's still healing. And so it's slower for me. That's the truth. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that it's not going to get better, because time has shown me it is getting better. I try to spend my time and my energy with really forward-thinking, positive people. I remain open to being taught new things and new ways of looking at things. I've been in therapy through all of this. I've had a therapist pretty much throughout this whole ordeal. Thank goodness. We all need someone to talk to. They might not know everything of what we deal with, but just to have someone to listen in a very non-judgmental way, and that can maybe give you some little suggestions, help you learn about meditation, help you understand what mindfulness is, help you find things that can help support you and help you have boundaries and get your needs met. It's been very beneficial, very beneficial. So I'm just really grateful. 5 years ago, I was in a trailer on a family member's property, trying to do a little bit of side work, but still spending most of my time inside, scared to death. And I had to do something, literally. Otherwise, I would have had to just go lay on the sidewalk and wait for someone to scoop me up, because if I wouldn't have done a little bit here and there, I wouldn't have had anything at all. So I think the fact in some ways that I was alone made it really hard. Not having a loving companion, a spouse, a family member that was understanding of all this, I think that did make things harder. But in other ways, the fact that there was no one to pick me up and take care of me kind of forced me to go, all right, you feel like shit. You feel like utter crap. Literally, I battled suicidality for 2 solid years. I didn't want to even live, let alone go earn a few dollars so that I can buy Shasta dog food and keep my phone turned on. And that's where I lived for a number of years. In the last 10 years, it was dog food, a phone, and a little bit of fuel so that I could get groceries because I had food stamps. But I lived with hardly anything. Now I have Social Security disability. It took me 7 years to get it. And I'm able to have a place to live. I pay rent and I do a little bit of work on the side to offset it. But like I said, it's very limited. And I'm still just really, my efforts are into, taking care of myself, having a good diet, getting fresh air, getting exercise, doing positive things, and experiencing my healing journey. I'm so grateful that I chose to be vulnerable and very out there about this. I've shared lots, really intimate, really scary, really hard periods of time. Have I shared everything? Of course not. I still have things that either I just felt embarrassed about, or didn't feel pertinent, or didn't feel it would benefit me or anybody else. But something told me that I needed to document this journey. Something told me that I needed to be able to look back and see what I'd experienced. Something told me that there might be some people that can learn and also feel a little bit of hope, a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of inspiration when they're in those horrible bouts of all kinds of symptoms coming off them, or the first months to year or longer when you first get off them. I will not say benzodiazepines did all my damage. I can't say that. I have a history, severe complex PTSD. That's what my counselor says. I have a lifelong history of trauma after trauma after trauma from the age of 5 on. I have taken multiple medications over almost 25 years, long-term, and discontinued many medications after long-term. So I don't I won't put all the eggs in one basket and say any damage that was done was benzodiazepines or it was opiates. I can tell you from my experience that the benzodiazepines and the psychiatric medications, the antidepressants, the antipsychotics, those seem to have hurt me and caused more troubles than opiates. Opiates, yeah, I was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable for a while, but compared to the things for my brain, it wasn't nearly as bad. That's my experience. And really, historically, you can't die from coming off opiates unless you choose that route or you do something very bizarre and have other drugs you haven't said anything about. You can have a seizure and a heart attack coming off benzodiazepines. This is a hard journey, folks. If you're getting ready to come off, if you're considering it, I encourage you to do a lot of research on safe protocols that other people are having success with. I suggest you find a few people who've been successful and are doing fairly well. Follow them. I suggest you have a daily gratitude journal, or at least something where you write down at least one thing every day that you're grateful for, because it's really easy to get stuck in the how bad we feel, how rotten things are. Oh, this is awful. You need to have gratitude or this is going to be even worse. Eat well. Eat basic foods, not things that are in a box or that you get at a drive-through. I know it's harder, but even if it's cutting up an apple and you're eating an apple, you're better off doing that than buying an apple fritter at the market or whatever. Talk to your friends and loved ones. Find out who's going to support you. Let them see videos of what it's like. Get a perspective of what their perspective is before you just jump in and everything goes awry and then everyone's going, what the heck's going on? We had no clue. Know that there's people that are holding a space of hope for you if you are feeling like you can't feel hopeful today. I hold a space of hope for you. I'm sure that there were people holding spaces of hope for me, and that's part of why I'm still here. I've had a lot of people be very loving and kind to me and encourage me and show me that I am fine just how I am. I am wonderfully me, even with what I consider at times to be my less than desirable qualities. So, love yourself. You're the only one that can be there for you. And going over and over and over of how rotten it is that this happened to you, and damn them doctors and damn big pharma. Yes, we want to have these organizations that are helping change laws so that we have full consent. We want those things, but being angry is not going to help you. Being bitter and resentful is not going to help you heal. There's not going to be that benefit. And I've seen this over and over. So just be in the moment. Today matters. And today, wherever you are, find something to be grateful for and know that you've taken a courageous step towards taking control of your own health by saying, this isn't working for me. I need to do something different. Who can help? Where can I find help? There's lots of help out there. There's various organizations, Benzo Buddies. There's all kinds of Facebook groups. But like I say, beware. If all you're feeding yourself is how bad everybody is, you're going to feed that fear. If all you're hearing is how go in and get information on how to get better, how to taper, that yes, this is real, I'm sorry. But then find people who are doing better and follow those people, truly. Because if you stay stuck in that fear and you get that feeding you all the time, I truly believe that will keep people more stuck than they'd like to admit. Anyway, this is my journey, my vlog, my experience, my perceptions. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying what my experience is, that I have worked very hard at being positive and finding the good and seeing the change and having hope. And I have wanted to share that with all of you. And that's all I'm doing here. Anyway, I hope you celebrate with me. I'm so excited. And I'm just finishing up some chores around here, and then I'm headed on my trip. And maybe I can get this loaded up today, and it might have to wait for a couple days till I have better internet. I don't know, because where I'm at, I don't have very good internet. Hopefully that'll change after the new year. Anyway, I thank those of you that have followed all this time. I'll keep sharing and giving updates now and then. Always love to hear from you folks. Thanks so much. Love you. Peace.